John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hello, my name is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert. I have spent almost 30 years in the credit industry. This is my 30th year. Spent some time at FICO, the credit scoring company, and some time at Equifax, which is one of the 3 generally recognized credit reporting agencies in the United States. So today, it's one of my favorite topics. We're going to talk about the difference between a good credit score and a bad credit score. If you Google what is a good credit score, you are going to find thousands and thousands of hits and articles where someone is professing to know what is considered a good credit score and what is considered a bad credit score. You're going to see stuff on the credit bureau's websites, you're going to see blog after blog after blog, and you may even run into some videos like this one that are going to set the record straight as to what is a good credit score and what is a bad credit score. So let's discuss the possible range of credit scores. Most of you may know from watching some of my other videos that the published range for most credit scoring systems is 300 to 850. The higher the credit score, the better it is for you because that means you're low risk. The lower the credit score, the more problematic it's going to be for you because you're considered high risk. This, by the way, holds true for both the FICO credit scoring system and also the VantageScore credit scoring system. Both of these models are scaled 300 to 850, with the higher score being good for the consumer. The answer to the question, what is a good score, what is a bad score, can be answered with one simple answer, and it does not have to be complicated. It's whatever your lender says, all right? It doesn't matter what John Ulzheimer thinks. It doesn't matter what the credit bureaus think. It doesn't matter what the credit scoring companies think. It doesn't matter what some blogger thinks, but it matters what Wells Fargo thinks. It matters what Chase thinks, and it matters what American Express thinks. The lender is the arbiter between what's a good score or as to what's a good score and what's not a good score, all right? Lenders do not all have the same credit score requirements, meaning that some lender may want you to have a credit score that's here, while some other lender may want you to have a credit score that's here. So you could say, well, what's a good score? It's whatever score gets you approved because the lender says you're good enough, right? So let's talk about that. What is a good enough score to get you approved? There are interest rates that are published every single day and aggregated nationally and regionally and by loan product. And for mortgages, and obviously, look, there's exceptions to every rule, but this is kind of the rule. For mortgage loans, the best published interest rates are going to be for consumers who have a middle numeric, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, a middle numeric score of at least 760 or above. And the reason I say middle numeric is because in mortgage lending, the process is a little bit different than in any other type of lending. The mortgage broker or lender has to pull 3 of your credit reports. And if you have a co-applicant, then they have to pull their 3 credit reports. So now you have 6 credit reports, and they're going to take the lower of the 2 middle numeric 3 scores from each of those credit reports to make their decision. And so it's a little bit different in mortgage lending. But if you have a middle numeric score, let's just say this, if all of your scores are above 760, then you are going to likely, unless you have something wrong with your income or the appraisal of the home doesn't work out or there's some other extenuating circumstance that causes the lender to have to change the pricing, 760 and above. So if you said, hey John, what's a good enough score to get a mortgage loan? My answer 100% of the time is going to be, well, the best published interest rates are going to be for people who have 760 and above. 760 and above means anyone who has a 760 all the way to an 850, all right? So your deal doesn't get any better just because you're at 850 than if you're at 800 or 820, right? The best deal is the best deal. So in my mind, that's a good score for a mortgage loan. The news gets even better for auto loans. The best published interest rates for auto loans are for people who have 720 and higher. So it's actually easier to get the best deal on auto loans because you don't have to have as high of a score. 720 is 9 points above the national average. So you can do some math. 720 minus 9 is doink, 711. So the average credit score or average FICO score is 711. So if you had just 9 points more than the average, you would qualify, again, assuming everything else, your income, the value of the car, that kind of thing. you would get the best deal when you look at kind of the aggregated average deals for new car loans across the country. So, okay, well then why am I shooting for 800? Or why am I shooting for 850? Well, the reason you're shooting for 800 and 850 is because it gives you an insurance policy. So that 1 month where you charge up a ton of credit card debt because of an emergency, or geez, what if you actually really do forget to pay your bills for a month? That's really unusual for someone who has these types of scores. It's really usual for someone who has those types of scores, but for these types of scores, that's really unusual. But on the off chance, on the weird occasion where you really just kind of, you like space out for a couple of months and you forget to pay all your bills, that's why you strive for these types of scores, because they act as an insurance policy. Someone's score is going to react very differently if they've got a score like this to a late payment than if they had a score like this to a late payment, right? You're still going to have a fantastic score, but you've got to cure the account. You can't just let it go worse. Down here, you're already kind of close to the margin as far as average goes, and adding something derogatory may push you actually below the average. And so it's a very different reaction and a different issue when you kind of think of the materiality of the change and what does it actually mean? What is the practical impact of the difference of the two scores? If you go from 850 to 800, there is no impact. I mean, you're going to still sail a lot. You're going to get the best deal the lender has to offer. But if you drop from 720 to 690, now we're talking about a different animal as far as the loan and the pricing of the loan goes. So whenever you read something that tries to have like a chart, well, 760 to 800 is good, and 800 and above is great, and that's all fine. That makes for great blogging, but the lenders don't follow those charts. The lenders have their own charts. They make them in-house. They don't share them with you and I. They don't share them with their competitors, and they don't publish them. But generally speaking, if you can nail 760 and above in all of the FICO scores, all of the VantageScore credit scores, you are probably in good shape to get the best deal that any lender has to offer, assuming that you have enough of a salary to afford the loan, and the appraised value of whatever is you're borrowing against, like your home or a car, is actually in line, and the appraised value isn't out of whack. So that's what I would shoot for. I'd still shoot for the stars, okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't go for these really high scores that most people would kind of call the elite level scores, but I am telling you that you don't need them in order to get the best deals that lenders have to offer, because these scores are going to be good enough. I appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or questions, or you want to argue about what's a good score, drop them in the comments section below. We'll talk again soon. Thanks for watching.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.